Yeah, ahead of time.
Erica, thank you very much. Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. So this meeting is now called to order at 5:59 p.m. And this is the Board of Selectmen regular meeting for dated January 27, 2026. Roll call. Mary Smith. Here. Rob Connell.
Can I have an agenda?
Rob is here.
He's here.
Amanda. Here. Alex Session should be online. Do you see him, Bridget?
He's right there.
He is. So you are here, Alex?
He was just here.
He was, but he didn't put up it, so I went.
Bring snacks because he's the best.
So is he saying
very
here?
thoughtful.
He was the best.
He said yes in the
Yes.
chat.
All right, thank you.
That's no chat.
Dwayne Kaczynski
Here.
and Rich Barrows.
Here.
Thank you. All right, agenda approval. We do have an item that is being added to the agenda and it has been placed in front of you. It's going to be action item number 7. It's a resolution of the board to adopt a ground warming equipment loan and rental policy. So we want to add that to the agenda. Are there any other changes or additions to the agenda?
Is item 3 staying on the agenda?
Yes.
Oh, great.
Yes. So do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
As amended.
As amended, thank you.
Second.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, that has been added to the agenda. Audience business. Members of the audience have 3 minutes to present any matter of interest not already on the agenda. Letters will be acknowledged, but will not be read aloud. Do we have anybody in the audience online? Okay, no audience business. We will move on to payables. So in your packet, you have a payables report for review dated January 9th to January 22. And there was a cover sheet with that, which explains some of the expenses. Any questions on the payables? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the payables as presented?
I'll make that.
Go ahead.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Great, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The payables are approved as submitted. We have minutes approval for our January 13th meeting. I know that various edits have been submitted and submitted to Bridget and made by Bridget. And any other comments or changes on the minutes from January 13th? Did you get a letter something this afternoon?
Not this afternoon, the last pages.
Were there more changes?
So there were just some minor edits that I submitted.
That Bridget has.
She does, when she
I
opens
have
it,
them, I will do that and I'm sure they'll be great.
Oh, yeah,
that'll
absolutely.
be fantastic.
Glad we have fantastic changes. Any other comments or changes for the minutes from January 13th? Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
As amended,
And Mary, was that you second?
second.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And I'm assuming we've got Alex online also voting. I just want to make sure we've got him.
If you monitor the chat there, he's.
Okay, I can't
He
read.
has a question. He does have a question.
Okay, what is his question?
Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you. Excellent. Thank
Oh,
you.
great. So I'm sorry, I know the payables were approved, but I actually have a question about the debt service to Evergreen National Bank, the $3,502, which appears to be a monthly payment.
No, not monthly.
What line item are we talking about, Al?
We're talking about
Debt
page
service
2, the
principal.
top, It's
Three.
40-40.
On page 7, right at the top, lease payment. Lease payment for what?
It's the lease payment on the property the town acquired along Argentine. Just south of the helipad. I think it actually includes the helipad. And so we have that through a lease arrangement with Evergreen.
So we're leasing it. I mean,
Lease to
obviously.
own, it's a lease to own.
We're slowly acquiring parcels
And-
as we move forward.
And we did, this year through the budget process, we did talk to Evergreen in detail about possibly paying off that debt instrument. And their advice was because the interest rate is so low that we would probably benefit from keeping the cash and not paying it off at this time.
And what's the
Yeah.
maturity date of the lease?
Oh, I can't remember, but it's coming up. I want to say it's going to be in 2032, I think, but I have to check and get back to you on that.
Okay. All right, that's all.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Alex. Alex, any questions on the minutes?
No.
Okay, very good, thank you. All right, so now we'll start with our action items, and first up, we have the law enforcement services update. We have the Captain, Lieutenant, thank you, Lieutenant Dave Straley here, and we welcome you. We're excited to hear the report.
So,
Thanks.
I've been working with the town administrator, trying to dial in the monthly report as required, but being this is the first one under the full contract and wanted to summarize last year. The first page presented to the board is the flock vehicle counts through the roundabout for the last 28 days. So from mid-December through mid-January, 140,000 vehicle routes through the roundabout at the time, and it shows daily counts. These are counts that are available. I usually provide these specific weekends when there's expected more traffic. During leaf peeping season, we had these numbers. Last year during on hockey, we certainly had them available. This is a tool to help your administration monitor traffic and keep moving forward with the system. Any questions on that?
So you have total vehicle volume here, and that's for this date period, correct?
Yes.
And then year to date is 158, and that's. Jack, what did you read?
Yeah, see, that one I don't understand.
Oh,
I
okay.
get the 140 because if you add up the days, that's what you get.
That's what, right.
So where they came up with that, I don't know if that's the difference between the unique vehicles versus duplicate vehicles. Total count, same car driving through it more than once.
Oh.
I don't know for sure.
Around and around and around it is for crying out loud.
Trying to get one right.
That's what.
Getting my steps
All
in.
right, thank you.
The following packet breaks down, the CAD report from 2025 roll calls in Georgetown. Again, and as we get further into the packet, outlines all the good stuff. But the last page of that packet has all the raw numbers. Which,
Well, we've had no drowning. That's good.
so the front two pages are the total calls in draft form and then calls by day of the week. As you see, we tend to get more calls Thursday, Wednesday, and then Tuesday are the top 3 days. Again, if you break down this list, and the very last page has all the raw numbers for year 2025 in the city of Georgetown, Georgetown. There was 2,551 calls for service. That's dispatch calls and officer initiated calls. But if you take out the majority of the ones that are information items, that's when dispatch creates a call for service just to let us be aware of something. If there's accident or in the county, they use the sheriff's office address, which is in Georgetown. And it populates a non-responded call, but it's a call for service nonetheless. And then there's a plethora of warrant arrests, which I would say 99% of them come out of the jail.
Okay.
So someone turns themselves in, they get a call for service to create a report, it hits. So all the activities that the jail does and all the information report that dispatch just wants to document they use our address at the sheriff's office, which artificially populates the calls for service, though. For instance, in December of 25, this full list created 265 calls for service. I pared that down to 98 calls for service that the patrol division responded to or proactively initiated. So if you look at that, you're looking about 3/5 of the activity are coming out of the jail or for information purposes, not actual activities here in the town. So 98 calls for service are proactive calls in the town, 9 of which generated a report. 0 of which had investigations involvement, and speaking with my detectives, there are currently no active investigations for any crimes in Georgetown. So, we're,
How about the county?
the county,
Yeah,
I did not run those numbers.
Oh, I just wondered if you
I
did.
can get those numbers,
I would imagine it'd be like, you know, right, at least like 5.
right?
It's a big county.
So for instance, nine reports made in the town of Georgetown for the month of December. Overall, we had, for the entire year, we took 1,334 reports. 33 was one in Georgetown. So 9, you're looking at 110 per year at that average, where the total county has with 1334, 1335. So that's a percentage. I can tell you 1333 was us arresting these department yet again. So she is not back out. So that was a fun day. So just for the end perspective, if you like those gross comparison numbers, I'd be happy to bring them to the next. So
Not necessarily, I'm just, you know, I wondered if you just do it off the top of your head.
right.
Yeah.
So so that's some of the monthly reporting and narrowing down the final report with that. So total calls for service, number of reports taken, how many are in investigations, and the status of those, are they open, still under investigation, did we get an arrest, were we unable to follow through? In the month of December, we had 41 active calls for patrol time. We try to coordinate in our CAD system, the computer aided dispatch system, extra patrol or area check. Most of those are an hour long, some were not. I averaged it out, we were about 35 hours of patrol time for the month of December. Overall, last year, total patrol time, not counting responding to calls for the town of Georgetown, 384 hours of patrol time for the year. As we move forward, this monthly report will back down and make adjustments as necessary, but we're gonna be pretty close. The only other thing we would like to add is where we're at on hiring and giving you more consistent staff. We're at 10 of our 13 positions, the 13 include the 3 for Georgetown. 2 of which are in field training. So it feels like we only have 8 on the road. Because the 2 in training are paired up with a trainer and learning with their ropes, it should be out in 2.5 months if training progresses as expected. We always leave room for the fast movers or the guys that need a little bit of extra time. And a quality product, so if they need a little bit of extra time, they get it. If they're failing significantly, we have a different conversation. So luckily, all my training officers are geared towards their success. That being said, with the 3 positions I haven't filled, 2 of which I know I have their names, I just don't have the training officers for them, and they're currently in jail. And we are in the active hiring process for the last certified deputy from outside our agency. I've narrowed it down to 3 people. We're just in the final background stages. Again, there will be a delay in getting them out. What this means to when can we assign them to you guys? We're hoping with the 2 that are in training, one of them will be assigned to you guys right away. And then as we get the next 3 on board, 2 of the last 3 would go to fill those positions. We are actively looking to hire or promote a sergeant. Need more supervision in the later hours of the day with Ron Thornton being appointed to sheriff, that took away one of my sergeants. So we gotta fill that. If we do promote, that'll be another hiring opportunity for us. So we're a lot closer than I ever thought I would be this time of the year, but it's been a process for sure. The background side of it.
But you've been,
Gives insight.
you're optimistic.
I am.
Good.
Yeah, the three,
It's good to hear.
the three that certified that we're currently at, one's a rock star, but due to concerns at our current agency, she's asked that we hold off so she can decide if the changes where she's at or what she wants, or if she's ready to jump. She's got an engineering degree, very book smart, but she also has a high emotional intelligence that she's seeing the bigger picture, and I really respect that, and I keep asking her to, really, I think you're the perfect fit for us.
Does that quotient
So-
weigh in a lot heavier than it used to?
Absolutely.
I was gonna say.
We, you know, in the 30 years of law enforcement I've been in, it's changed greatly. We have to talk to people, you know. It's, you know, it's the professional standard. We have to move forward, and emotional intelligence really leads toward a good way. Nice. So, what questions do you have of me?
Anybody have any
I
questions?
have a question.
Yeah, Val.
Lieutenant, very nice to meet you. My name's Alex Sassoon. I'm one of the representatives for Ward 2 in the town. And I briefly came into the town hall, but you were busy in conversation, otherwise I would have introduced myself there. And the reason why I'm doing this on Zoom is because I have a little tickle in the back of my throat. My question is, to what extent is the law enforcement working together with the, I can't remember exactly how to describe it, the advocates? Georgia, can you help me there with how to describe those guys?
We're working together with the advocates.
Yeah, I mean, I have an old English expression. It's kind of the battered wives support group, if you see what I mean.
So, the advocates are a standalone agency. We work by side with them on calls for service, but we have no guidance or direction, directly over them. They have a board that oversees them. We do have a member of the sheriff's office that sits on the board to provide guidance, but it's a board that guides it. We work hand in hand on certain calls for service, whether it be a crime against person where there's a victim that needs assistance. If there's a death in the county, they come out for the other parties on scene, and they're a great resource for us. Traditionally, in a uniform like this, not a lot of people want comfort from me. So having someone that is trained in that and willing to take the time, I'm a people person. I like people, but having someone that's dedicated to that role is very beneficial. So they're a great resource for us, but again, they're standalone agency. So we can only give them a little bit of guidance on certain areas, but on calls, we have no issues with them. That they're a great resource.
Thank you very much for that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. That's great to know. Any questions on the report? Any additional information we may want to hear?
So from a staffing standpoint, you've got 2 officers coming out of their field training in a couple of months. Is it one of those 2 officers that the county is planning on assigning to growth town control? Or is it one of your more experienced?
Ideally, it would be
Deputies.
one of the more experienced. It's yet to be decided. Honestly, I'd like it to be one of my more experienced. Freshly out of 16 weeks of training with another guy. Giving them broader breadth, learning the county is important, as well as finding their own way. Is big. I'd like to see that position, once they're out of training, represents a spot for you guys, whether it's one of the new guys. I doubt it, but it's possible. It's yet to be determined. But I'm leaning forward to one of the experienced guys. That's my argument with my captain.
That's the answer I'm hoping to hear, but. Actually.
I have a real quick question on this graph. It looks like there's four, you mentioned Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but it looks like Fridays are really, or am I not reading this correctly? It looks like Fridays, and again, this is just informational, it's.
Right. So. Yeah, on the graph, the call types, it only.
Right,
it's
and
like
day
every
of the week?
fourth One,
It
day,
looks-
day of the week, so that's a. I can't tell if that's purple or magenta,
It
that's
looks like
pretty
it's-
high,
Yeah,
which would be a priority 5, so I'm guessing that's more of a gel call,
okay.
but. It is also very high on Friday, so,
So when we said Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you went from like
I-
non-jail calls, where that was the,
yeah.
okay, I was just curious about that.
So the blue and the. I don't know if that's, the blues, priority 1, priority 2, and the darker purple, the
I
priority
see
3.
them at the
Those
bottom,
are more likely the active calls for service,
okay,
so.
all right, very good, thank you.
And you'll see the blue kind of drops off on Fridays, it's weird. So,
People are busy, they're home now. Any other questions or comments or? Thank you very much
Yeah,
for this,
thank you.
really appreciate it, look forward to seeing you next month.
Yep.
Monthly,
Monthly.
which is great, wonderful.
Yeah, and town administrator's been great to work with, we've had some good conversations, and I think we're close to having everything dialed in.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Am I gonna have a sneezing fit like everyone?
I think we're adaptable, and if it's reasonable, we can do it. If we don't feel it's reasonable, we can have that conversation, so.
Well, we really appreciate,
Your
you
contract
know,
would-
the flexibility, and also we're looking forward to working with, you know, the same people all the time and establishing all that's gonna be great. So
Yeah.
thank you very much for your
We're
time.
committed to make this work, so
Yeah,
we're open. I normally typically work Tuesdays and Fridays, so if you're in the area, stop by. I won't say no unless I'm really busy today. This morning was interviewing sergeants, so.
oh, busy.
Yeah, it was always something, but
Great.
I'll make time if I have it, so.
Thank you, Ken,
Thank
really,
you.
we appreciate it.
Thank
you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's keep away, let's get to the.
Thank you, Ms. Allen.
Yeah.
Here.
That's with you.
Everything, yes, we're gonna go.
Thank you.
We got things to do.
All right, thank you, have a good evening. So on the agenda, we have, agenda action item number 2, which is consideration of the fine ordinance. This is the second reading. And you've been handed something at your, spots, which include a schedule of fines. And then you also have the ordinance, and Jerry, take it away.
I'm the guy. You saw this on first reading and I described it in a fair amount of detail on first reading. We're responding to two things, really, a decision that Colorado Supreme Court is still in December. That limits to not a significant extent, but we need to recognize that the penalty options available to the municipal court judge or frankly, the county court judge when they sit on municipal cases. As I described to you last time, in practice, the judges never get any more close to the state maximums. But we want to make sure any convictions are not overturned by virtue of not being, the schedule's not being consistent, so it does that. And secondly, it attaches the lengthy list of fines for the various kinds of violations. I expected the county to have comments on that list, but I have not received any from them, so I don't have any changes to suggest. It's incorporated and adopted by the ordinance. And I request that you adopt it as it is, there's no changes because we haven't been requested to make any. I fully expect that as we have the experience of the judge actually sitting on municipal cases for the town, that will perhaps get some suggestions from the judge or prosecuting attorney or the county attorney. But it's early days, and at this point, I don't have any changes because they've not asked them for any. So I urge you to just adopt it as is, and we'll have it in place.
And this would be exhibit A.
Yeah, that's the exhibit 1 or 8. Whatever.
Yeah, I think it says 8, but I just want to make sure it was the right one. Okay.
Yep.
Great, thank you. So any questions on this? I think we've read it before. It looks good. There's no changes. There's a recommended motion in your packet.
I'll go ahead and do that.
Okay, thank you, Rich.
I move to approve ordinance number 1, series 2026, adopting a fine schedule for town code violations and conforming with the same with the state law on second reading.
Thank you. Do I hear a second? Dwayne? Okay. Very good. All those in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Alex, you good? All right, thank you. Awesome, that's great. Jerry, thank you very much for that. That is an excellent thing. For item number 3, the purchase agreement, you do have a cover sheet in there with a motion to table the purchase agreement. Dennis, did you want to make some comments on that?
Just a couple things. Jerry and I have been waiting for comment from the GLA since the last meeting. At the time of publishing the packet, we had not received any comments or requests or counter offers, but we did over the weekend from Bart get some comments on Sunday, and we talked with him. We've been going back and forth the last couple of days, but we're not prepared to present anything for your approval this evening, so we're asking that you table it to a future meeting.
Any questions on that? Okay, would somebody like to make the recommended motion, and instead of putting the date in there, we're just gonna say to a future meeting? Someone would like to make that.
I move to table the purchase of the agreement between the Georgetown Library Association and the town of Georgetown for the purpose of the John Tomei Memorial Library Building until a future meeting date.
Thank you. Second? Wayne? Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. That agenda item is tabled. Next, you have in your packet the John Sprunger encroachment agreement. And you've got a lot of handouts for this, including the license agreement. Dennis, did you want to handle that?
Or Asia was the one that took this.
Oh, very good.
Condition, she's ready to speak to it tonight.
Perfect, Asia. Thank you so much.
So, John Sprunger owns house at 1110 Main Street. If you are familiar with that space, there is a rock retaining wall that comes out of the property that does encroach on Main Street right of way. What he's asking for is to build a fence all with the rock wall. It's not being used by the town at all at this point. This is a revocable encroachment license, so at any point, if the town decides to retake that land, we can give him 30 days notice and have to remove any of his property.
I'll comment on that too. It was approved some years back from a previous owner. He did the same thing. That was approved.
That was a different property, that was the house in Shore.
Oh, I think you're right.
He
Yeah.
owns both of them, it's in the house that he lives in now.
They own
That was
both of those.
previously approved.
Yeah, they own both of those houses, correct?
No, but just to clarify, a property on the same stretch received the same enforcement.
I don't know if it was an attachment or.
Well, they wanted to put a fence up. Instead, I
But
think it's,
same vicinity.
yeah, so here's.
Next door.
Yeah, I mean, the whole idea with it is the way that if you go years back, when Bill's was kind of road bridge, he wanted to actually widen Main Street. But then they kind of claimed that rock wall that goes through there was more historic. So if you look at like 3 or 4 of those houses through there, theoretically, I mean, yeah, the town could always go in, which is why it's not permanent. But it does make sense that they want to put something there, and we didn't, they didn't go to this issue back then. It's kind of the same thing with both those houses next door. Because they both, it kind of sits up a little bit high off the road.
so like, as far down as Bob Hamilton's.
It's
It's
across the
across the
street.
Right across the street.
Right?
Yeah, so it's that wall that sits there.
Poor guy. And then, you know, I think it's, marked by the power lines too.
Power lines are on the opposite side.
They are.
Yeah, so it's a tough structure because theoretically, it should be nice if the road was widened. But yeah, that would be a crazy amount of work. That would do that, so.
So Keisha, is this exhibit A? There wasn't an exhibit A attached that I saw to the license, to the encroachment license agreement. I'm just wondering if this would be exhibit A?
Exhibit A is the memo, the community matters memo.
Okay, that would be the community matters memo. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but if we're, the personal agreement refers to an exhibit that's a diagram, right? I believe it does.
Oh, you're from that.
And we'll wanna make sure, I saw the subject fact that one of those 2 diagrams is gonna work, but you know, a year from now, 2 years from now,
Right.
we want to be able to pull up that diagram and say, okay, here's the edge pavement, but here's the edge of their property line, here's what's encroaching. And it makes it pretty clear, I'm fine with it. There's exhibits to the memo, but then the encroachment agreement itself has its own, or refers to its own exhibit.
Right.
Which is one of those diagrams.
Okay,
So if you approve the motion, we'll just make sure that the encroachment agreement has the right item attached, and that goes in our file.
Cause it's just this little space here, that's the encroachment, it's a little tiny thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's great, thank you. Oh, those were my only questions. Any other questions?
Did you have to go through the DRC for approval of what you were saying about there?
The fences,
You already did that?
yep, dependent on you approving the
Of
encroachment.
course, yeah. They had no issues with it.
Planning didn't either, right? There's planning approval also.
Yes, so planning approved this, the actual encroachment, the design review commission reviewed just the fence itself. But that was done the last design review commission meeting and was contingent upon your approval of the encroachment. They did approve, you know, if you denied it for some reason, they approved him to build a fence on his property. So,
Makes sense.
Great, thank you.
Part of the
have a
application
question.
process. Ask for the review criteria. On page 26, letter H. The refers to the benefit. Is the encroachment beneficial to the town of Georgetown as a general policy? Is not the town's interest to grant encroachments? So my question is, what is the benefit to the town of Georgetown for this encroachment?
It looks
Not to the
pretty right
homeowner,
there.
to the town.
Yeah, I think it looks better. Than just the wall kind of being the way that it is. Because theoretically, too, the benefit to the town would be to better improve the wall, which I'm surprised we haven't gotten complaints from the corner lot. Which I know there's some people there unhappy with that wall kind of falling in, and that is on town's property.
But on this property, since we need to stick with.
True.
H1 is to acknowledge an existing condition and outline the owner's liability and responsibility for maintenance and removal of the encroaching structure. And I, you know, Mike Davenport, who is our planning consultant, did ask about that. And it's a space that the town can't access and isn't in our benefit to use or improve, but can be improved and used by the homeowner much more feasibly. So we felt that it was an appropriate.
But that's a benefit to the homeowner. How is it a benefit to us?
Well, it's a better argument, and I agree, I get what you're saying. I'm just looking at the whole road in general for that whole issue, because it is all town right away. And I mean, I get what you're saying too, Mary. It's tough because if we're not going to make that part of the road, it's a rock wall, people can't, if I walk down that road, I can't walk up the side of the rock wall. So it's not a better use to us. But also, if as coming from the homeowner, if we, which they could put the fence back, which in reality is probably a better investment for them if we were ever gonna do something with the wall. But at the end of the day, I mean, if we don't have no plans of doing anything, it just looks better. In my eyes, from a town perspective, not so much for them. I mean, they pick up a little bit more yard, but I think it's better for everybody.
So I realize it's not our issue, it's a DRC issue, but when you put a fence on top of where that rock wall is going to be. Our height requirement for a front fence is,
Well, DRC approved it. right?
I mean, yeah,
I understand.
I see what you're saying, but is it for the ground?
I think in this case, so it says granting of encroachments should generally occur under one of the following conditions, and it's because of the retaining wall. That is an existing condition, why this makes sense. If that wall wasn't there, it was more feasible for us to use it as off-street parking or something like that, then it would make sense for us to grant it. But because that wall exists, that's the existing condition.
So maybe the benefit is that, as you say in H and then little I, is it just outlines the liabilities and makes clear what's gonna happen or not happen in that tiny little space, right? That's, yeah.
Well, let me ask you a question, what about liability, and say they put the fence on their property? And since that is town property, somebody manages to walk up that, because people are not gonna go up there because they assume that it's private property, but if somebody does go up there and falls off the retainer wall, off that rock wall.
I think that's in the, yeah.
Then,
In the encroachment agreement,
Yeah.
that they are required to carry insurance and list the town.
there you go,
Mhm.
already, without the fence or anything.
Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
And so how do we monitor that?
We watch people who fall down.
No, how do we
No, I'm-
monitor that the
This is just-
liability is covered
Yeah,
on an annual basis? Because I renew my insurance on an annual basis. What if I switch? What if I change that
do
policy?
they have to submit that to the town?
How do
They
we,
have to give us,
and we get that every year?
we can ask for it every year, if you'd like.
Is that even without the fence being there so far?
Say it again?
So there's no fence there now, who's liable if somebody falls off the wall?
we are
Gotcha,
made
that's,
as liable as, we're.
yeah. But somebody put a fence there, somebody could technically climb the fence and jump off the fence and then really hurt
But
themselves.
isn't that their responsibility? I think in
It
the.
is now, yeah, as long as they have insurance, as long as we make sure they keep up their insurance. Right,
Right.
Jerry?
Yeah, and it's fine, it's a good procedure to send a note to the owners of the encroachments that the town generally grants. There's a number of them around town for various purposes. Hello, it's January 1st, 2027. Per the encroachment agreement that we have with you, please submit evidence of your insurance.
Right.
And that's a good, I think, sort of checklist file kind of thing for us to be doing for all of the encroachments that we have. And doubtless it will inspire people to wake up to their obligations, which is a good thing too. So, yeah.
Very good.
Can I throw in 2 cents? This does not relieve the town of liability for the right of way.
Of course not.
What we're talking about is additional liability assumed by the structure that's going to be built on the right of way. So if somebody were to be driving their vehicle and run into the rock wall, that's probably something the town's gonna have to deal with, not the applicant for this evening.
That could be for a future discussion on that section, on that stretch there.
Yeah, on the
Should
historic
be,
wall.
it's tight through there.
All right, any other comments? Concerns?
Yes, I do.
questions? Yes, Alex.
Thank you. So on page 27, the application refers to block 54, lot 6. On page 37, the property is referred to as lot 7, block 54. Which one is correct?
Okay, we're checking. Seven. It's in the, let's see, lot 7. Lot 7 is on the easement. I mean, the encroachment easement. Lot 7 is on this
I think
property record card. Oh, I'm sorry, Tom.
1110 is located on lot 7.
The ISP has lot 6 and 7 listed.
Well, they probably own both lots. I see that.
They do all.
They
both
do
lots.
own both lots, right?
So the real question is which lot is the encroachment on, or is it on both of them?
Are they want to do a fence on both of them?
No.
It's only the one side,
That's wherever that rock wall is located.
Yeah, it's only the one side.
And is it up to us to correct their application? Shouldn't the application be correct when it comes to us and then we approve the encroachment as it's specifically listed, accurately listed?
Otherwise, we're discussing.
We're guessing. I think we think that they're gonna do this. Well, why don't we just ask them to, let's clean this up, whether it's process on our part with staff, or if it's something that they have incorrectly documented, can we just get a clean copy of the encroachment application and approve it then? If that's what we're gonna do.
You think we have to
agree.
table it because of that?
Are they going to construct this fence in the next 2 weeks during our first deep freeze of the season?
So, it looks to me, Kasia, based on this, that it's lot 6 where this fence is gonna go. It's gonna go on the north side of lot 6. And to the point of wanting everything cleaned up, I think that makes a lot of sense. So the question becomes, do we need it to come back, or can we make the call that it's on lot 6? Do you feel comfortable with that? Do you have the DRC and planning paperwork? What did they approve?
Well, what you might, the choices oddly enough are 3. One is to approve it. You can make a motion to approve with the condition that the legal description of the lot actually being encroached be entered on the encroachment agreement. Which is where it needs to be. That's kind of one door. Another door is to deny it, and another door is to continue it to your next meeting so that the proper legal description can be discovered. Those are the three doors I can think of.
So deny it or continue it, or what the first one was?
So the first one was approval with condition that the proper legal description be entered on the encroachment agreement before it's signed.
I feel like that the first option is fine, it's not, I mean, I don't know how everybody else is going to vote, but I'm not going to vote to deny this, so. I don't see if it's, that correction can be made with us approving it, that is the most logical sense in purview.
Suggestion would be to approve the request based on what you think that the applicant is asking for, and if staff discovers that it's something different, we'll bring it back to you for just a correction.
So approved for lot 6 based on these corrections. What do you think, Keisha? You know this property.
The actual encroachment is on the Main Street right of way in front. It's not technically on either lot, it's adjacent to, so.
But it's coming off of lot 6, right? According to this.
Yeah, actually,
But the ISP does have.
Patience. point's a good one. It's,
So that's, yeah.
you know, you don't encroach on your own land, do you?
Yeah.
You know, the right of way is not part of lot 6 or 7. So,
Actually, it is though.
is it?
Yeah, right of way is part of the parcel throughout the town. And it goes right up until the red point, well, where it says the right of way,
It
right?
goes to the property line, then you have your setbacks. I look at that differently than you do.
Well,
Because you have your setbacks to your property, you have your right of
The
way.
right of way is.
That's right, they're asking us to allow them to encroach on town
No,
property.
but I'm agreeing with you on that.
Yeah,
But it's not actually a part of their property.
it's the town's,
Exactly.
which does not have an assignment. Right of way.
Yeah, it doesn't have a lot.
They're just asking, I mean, theoretically, it doesn't matter. They're just asking to use the stretch.
Yes, so we know the lot that the applicant lives on that is asking for the encroachment. So if the motion is approval of the encroachment for the right of way in front of lot blank, then we're good to go.
That's what this says, lot 6.
That's the.
Or lot 7. Well, this one says.
Yeah, you just,
Right.
you do wanna make sure though that they're not.
Yeah, no, we have to make sure.
If it's lot 7, we're bringing it back for a correct.
100 years from now, when we're in executive session, I'm gonna. Well, that's when we've done this, okay? There is a reason that we're supposed to be accurate.
I think that's right.
Very valid.
And is somebody
Okay,
gonna wanna
so-
own that for themselves, and then Main Street's gonna go like this, and it's gonna dip in and then back out around their property.
So quick question on a whole nother matter. Does my signature needs to be notarized on this because it's gonna be placed of record?
No,
Only the one signature needs to be notarized?
no, I mean.
I thought to be placed of record, signatures needed to be notarized.
Yeah.
Often you have unnotarized documents.
Okay, so we're good. Okay, so that was just a matter of,
Yeah.
okay, so how, how do we want to proceed? So, do we want to have this continued then to come back? So we-
I have a further question.
Yes, sorry, Alex, go ahead.
Sorry. This perhaps is a question for our lawyer. Page 39.
You can do that in the contacts app.
What? Page 39,
Okay.
item 16. The last word on that paragraph, assigns. Should it not be assignees?
What are we looking for?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Section 16.
No, assigns includes assignees.
Okay.
They're synonyms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. We might think about motion that approves the encroachment application as presented. As presented, which is, you know, has the addition, the current lot, what I think 6. As presented with respect to lot 6 and direct that the property description be confirmed prior to signature by the police judge. And obviously, if it isn't confirmed, we'll come back to you. That's not a very good motion. Sorry, usually I do a better job.
To make it simple, the board can make a motion to adopt as presented with the encroachment in the right of way lot 6. Staff knows that if that's incorrect, we have to come back and correct our mistake, whether it's our mistake or the applicant's mistake.
I'll note that the spot where it says lot 7 is just indicating the licensee is the owner of lot 7. So he is in fact the owner of lot 7 and lot 6 in this case. Our portions, I wrote the adjacent portion of Main Street right away, so just a clarification.
So there's the owner of lots 6 and 7, he wants an encroachment off of lot 6, basically, into the
The map is
county right of way. We want to make sure that the correct exhibit A is attached. We want to make sure that the legal description is verified. And we want a copy of the insurance to be provided to the towns on an annual basis. So that would be the motion.
Well, some,
Right?
well,
Yeah, that's,
Okay, so
that's fine.
let me just say this. Do I hear a motion to approve the encroachment agreement with John Sprunger with a correct exhibit A attached, with confirmation of the correct legal description to be inserted into the encroachment agreement, which should also be amended to include that a copy of the insurance should be provided to the town every year.
I'll make that motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, thank you. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Opposed. Okay, any abstentions? Okay, the motion passes and then all of that will be corrected and I'll note that before I sign it, obviously. I'll note all of that. Okay. Agenda item number 5 is the fee schedule recommended updates, and we have a lake use fee schedule that was included. And is this Kasia or Bridget or?
this is a Bridget.
This is a Bridget. Thank you, Bridget.
As part of sort of annual housekeeping, staff reviewed the fee schedule. We were looking to be sure that we have comprehensive fees, that they're competitive with similar towns in Colorado in terms of size and tourism. And that they're match up to the labor that goes into whatever the fee is for. And so looking at those factors, we have suggested a couple of changes to the fee schedule. Increasing the special event permit fee from $25 to $50, and that's to be more competitive with other towns. And I think it also aligns better with the labor that goes into permitting for a special event. Increasing the amplified sound permit fee from $25 to $100. The noticing that happens for an amplified sound permit is quite labor intensive. I sent out 300 notices for the amplified sound for pond hockey. I think it's more intensive than the $25, so that's the thinking there. Decreasing the excavation fee from $200 with a $2,000 bond down to $80 with a $5,000 bond. And that is both more competitive with some of the other municipalities and what they charge for an excavation fee. It's more aligned with the labor that is actually involved in the town giving the excavation permit, and the bond being higher, I think is the more important thing. If they mess up, it's more important for us to have that $5,000 bond than the $2,000 bond, thinking there. And then increasing the street closure for special events from $25 a day to $200 a day. There's barriers that need to go up, we're communicating with the fire department, we're communicating with emergency services. It's a greater task than the $25, and it's more, that $200 is more reflective of what you see in other towns. So those are the changes. Additionally, we wanted to restructure the 2 fees. First, the lake use fee, and you can see the attachment here. Currently, we charge $450 flat, no matter how long you use the lake, no matter how much of the lake you use. None of that is taken into account, and the new structure takes into account how much of the lake you're using,
and how much time you're using it for. We decided to make the lagoon more expensive because it impacts more residents. There are people that live on the lagoon. There's only one house that's directly on the lake. There's also, we added businesses that utilize the lake, looking specifically paddleboarding companies. They'll have to pay an annual fee for lake usage. Currently, they don't pay anything to use the lake for their business operations. We're requiring security deposit, which we don't currently do. And if you're using less than 50 square feet, which would be, for example, the ice melt contest, you're not paying $450 a day. That's ridiculous. We're gonna charge them $50 a day. And for most cases for nonprofits, we're able to figure out a way to waive that fee, but that's where that thinking is coming from. So those are the big changes to the lake use fees. The other, we wanted to, so those are the changes. Then there are two fees that we thought were missing. So there's the park reservation fee. Currently, we allow people to reserve parks for $25 a day. And we want to change that to a town facilities fee so that you can charge for parking lot usage or, as we acquire like the library, and people who want to use the stage, they'll have to pay to use that. That's not going to get part. So making that a more comprehensive fee. And then we also want to change how we structure the street closure fee. So currently, we only charge street closures for special events, and it's that $25 a hit, we want to raise to $300. We want to have now split the street closure fee into street closure special event and street closure for construction. And we've run into construction companies can come and shut down our roads for a month, and they're not paying a dime to do that, even though it's a community. We're as town staff and communicate with emergency services, administrative lift, so we wanna be sure our fee schedule covers that. That's what we're proposing here.
So those street closures would be at the 200 a day, even for construction? Okay, gotcha, thank you.
I just have a question. I saw, a couple of times, late summer, maybe fall, where, someone had put like a metal sign, this area closed for private event. And I didn't know if, like, it was like just before you went out on that dock.
That is a park reservation, so docks are included in our park reservation system now.
Okay, so like for weddings and stuff like that, how would that be charged?
That would still just be, it would be a town facilities fee, and it would still be the $25 a day, because for us, and there's a deposit, there's a $50 deposit, I don't know off the top of my head. So there's a deposit that they pay, so that they're just incentivized to leave the park as they found it. They fill out a form, and we say, hey Kevin, will you put up this sign that says, and like clear it off, make sure it's clean the day that they come, and that's the process for that.
I'm just thinking like, if and when we do have that park on that side of the lagoon and boulders and all that stuff, people may actually want to use it as an event venue, whether it be a wedding or a graduation party or something like that. And then, but it also restricts access, like on the other side of, the lake, I saw that same sign out and I don't know what event they had, but it was a busy day at the lake and people weren't then allowed to use that section of the lake. It was the closest to parking and all that stuff.
A lot of times with those events, though, they're booked so far in advance that we can't predict what the usage of the lake is going to be. So a good example is we just installed a new dock across the lake.
Yeah.
That has been very popular in terms of wedding usage. And it's also, because it's brand new, it's very popular for people to go over there and fish and.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so being that we booked those events so far in advance, I see where you're headed. It's difficult to control that interaction but the town is receiving a fee for the use of that, while others are not paying.
Yeah, I'm just also looking at value. Are we then on those docks, are we getting the best value at $25 a day? When other folks may have to pay, what, $300 for a couple hours for an event?
Do you think structuring park or town facilities fees similarly to the lake use fees where you're charged incrementally for depending on how long you're using it.
I think that would kind of make sense because again, people are paying for that value and,
So we could potentially switch it to a fee per hour.
if they're using like a town structure, I think that, you know, like, park fees down in Denver, you have to pay so much if you're gonna use gazebos for meetings or events. And those structures take more maintenance, they take more, you know, if you take them out of play, they're actually a draw for folks at the lake, so I would maybe take a look at that piece of it, just to see if we're providing as a town added value, because I wanna see more of those things over there
Sure.
on those docks.
You could have 5 weddings in a day, you know?
Yeah.
Well-
4 to 6.
I could have 20 dots.
Yeah.
I mean, just
say.
the Catholic Church, it's at least $100 to do that.
And you gotta be counted.
No, you don't.
You don't.
No.
Anymore. You've loosened your road, you've loosened your road.
And I'm just thinking if we're gonna pay to maintain those and they really are a nice feature. And if we're gonna have a little park over there too, we may wanna look at that, maybe not tonight, but into the future. Because there are a lot of added value with those things. I mean, just down below the lake for years, they had a wedding venue. That people paid big money for.
No, wedding venues are huge, the train has been cashing in on that for
No
years.
kidding. I wonder, so for special events,
I think this is a
you're
good
thinking
place
it's
to
too
start.
you're thinking it's.
Yeah, I think
This is a good place to start.
I think that's a good point, and Bridget will make a note of that, and we could bring that back to you as an additional recommendation after this evening. We have been discussing, now that the town owns the property around the lagoon, we control the trail, we have been talking about additional structures like decks or docks down that and too. So these are all things that have been in process, and definitely would bring that back to you so that you can consider it later. I'd hate to make it just pick a number out of the sky tonight.
No, that would not
So,
be appropriate.
No.
I have a question. So and Bridget, I think you did a really thoughtful job with this, and again, it was really helpful to hear from you. Not just like the logic behind the fees and the schedules, but the workload that's going into
Definitely.
execution of that. And not that I, want to spend more time with you guys, but I would prefer a work session on this, which I see as one of our options, because I would like to look at the schedule in a full. Like every fee that we had, similar to the one that we saw a couple of weeks ago. And I also would like us to hammer down process for in-county nonprofits specifically to make sure that we have an identified. Yeah, process for, the different groups that are coming in, and I think that. Everybody has to accept that the cost of doing business is increasing, and that applies to everybody who wants to do business here, and I truly don't think any of these usages are unreasonable, I think some of them are actually a little on the low side. But I would want us to be fair with nonprofits that have had events in Georgetown for a really long time. And I can see a little bit of a sticker shock for some of those guys who count on things being a certain way to all of a sudden have it be abruptly different. And I think we need to evaluate what that process looks like as well as the big picture for these.
So Amanda, are you recommending this evening that we adopt the proposed fee schedule and schedule a work session to talk about fee schedules from a higher level, or?
I would like us to table and go to work schedule. That would be my preference, but I will defer to the other board members. Cause I don't wanna drag it out. If I get outnumbered on that,
Well, the only thing I would add to that is if you haven't guessed already, the change in the park facility to facilities came from the fact that we are getting more and more requests to utilize the event parking area, and we have no mechanism to recover costs associated with
Understood.
opening and closing that and the security involved.
Okay.
And so
So if we need to go to a motion and then do a work session and amend, I'm completely fine with that. I just don't necessarily wanna put this to bed tonight and have it just be the end of it, because I think that there's far too
Fair.
many details that have to be ironed out. And what I'm looking at again specifically is that really have to increase in the street closure fee. The cost of it logistically makes sense, but I'm picturing CCMRD, I'm picturing HGI, I'm picturing, I'm sure there's others that I'm forgetting. I mean, just within our own event structures that we have, those are the people I'm trying to just consider, outcomes for and what that may translate to.
Okay, but currently we are, actually, I think does the staff have authority to waive those fees on request from a nonprofit? And we traditionally do that, but having a process in place where it's ABC would be very advisable, so. With going back to the original question, I request that the board adopt the proposed fee schedule, and then we will schedule a work session in the coming months to discuss this further and in greater detail on what.
I would like it to be next.
Yes, it's gotta be sooner than later.
It's gotta be
because
much
By
sooner.
the time we get it into play, you're already accepting permits or accepting applications, it sounds like, and we wanna be, you know.
Building
make it-
season's coming up.
Exactly, and how people are planning ahead and not,
And yeah, I mean, with
or
the,
they should be.
no,
Yeah.
they should be, I mean, again, I'm picturing,
Yeah.
we have. The first big street closure that pops in my mind is the Slacker,
Yeah.
obviously, and I'm sure that there's a Memorial Day, okay, so we've got Georgetown. I don't, you know,
Georgetown Days is Georgetown who's doing it, so it's kind of.
I guess somebody felt like.
Races.
If you have that work session.
So there's a lot of different things. in the
Yeah,
work
thank you. I was
session
like, I know there's something that happens Memorial Day weekend that I can't picture, yeah,
Yeah.
Burrow Racing, all those guys, and. It's important that you get compensated for your time, that road and bridge
Yeah.
gets compensated for their time. Everybody needs to be compensated, and the town needs to be compensated, so I'm fine with it, but I just wanna address the details.
And we want the work session sooner rather.
I would honestly like call for it in one of the next two meetings. Would
Okay,
be-
Alex, did you have any comments or questions?
Kind of.
What?
So, the business about some form of hourly fee, I think is a total nonsense, because who is going to what's the word I want? Who's going to monitor that? You know, that just seems like an extraordinary amount of time by potentially staff. You know, I can understand, say, an ice driving event being held and it's 2 hours or 4 hours or 6 hours, but who's going to monitor that time frame?
We already do that, and our parks people do that, they spend a considerable amount of time prepping an area for use by the community. This isn't just a way that the town makes money, this is a public service to the people that live in Georgetown, so they can have their family weddings in a location in Georgetown, and we have traditionally over the past subsidized that heavily for the benefit of a single person or a family or an event that they're having, and I think this is only a cost recovery effort. This is not trying to create some kind of new revenue stream for
Right.
the town.
Well, sorry, Alex, were you more asking, because it kind of raised the question with me, I think and I could be wrong. But if somebody's renting it for 2 hours, who's gonna monitor if they're only there for 2 hours?
The town does do that.
And you guys already did that.
Yes.
So, and I would also caveat, I do respect that, Alex, but like, you know, from a perspective of. When you're, sometimes those time limits are less about like. Direct enforcement and more about having options to manage situations that arise. I mean, I do hourly rentals all the time. And if like people, if I don't need the space or they're, you know, in the town, I don't think this would apply for the town, but I let people stay over. Or I'm like, hey, I need you out, your time is up, like and yeah, because we have a
Town is
contract.
doing it, sounds
Yeah.
like,
We
right.
have a contract, so if the town's managing it, I mean, I think that's not unreasonable from where I sit, I think it's a
Also,
good use.
I'd just like to remind you, this is also one of the reasons why we require our employees to work on weekends. So we have a staggered shift schedule for parks and road and bridge, but they are available for these, especially important in the summer. Because not only is it the reservations, but it's the people that are using like City Park. And if they bring their family unannounced or unreserved and they have a picnic out in City Park, which is welcomed and perfectly fine. But that taxes the trash system, right? And so, I remember being called once because there was a raccoon in one of the trash things. So our people have to be available, and if we don't have this fee structure in place for this, then we do not have any way to,
You eat those costs.
yes, we eat
So
that.
we should have a raccoon.
So-
That used to,
There, next to
The fee will be
make some money.
on your February work session.
So, I'll bet
All
the
the
motion-
points in the work session to discuss.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. So,
So,
do we have then a recommendation, let's see, Dennis, what did you offer before?
I would ask that the board adopt the fee schedule as presented this evening and schedule and direct staff to schedule a work session in February to further discuss fees and costs of, and.
So moved.
Yeah, second.
Okay, hold on.
Sorry, no,
Mary and Dwayne, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, very good. So we will, have a work session in February. The staff will be directed to set that up. So we can talk about, these things in depth. Action item number 6 is, appointments, and you have a list there of the various appointments for Silver Plume Sewer Commission, Clear Creek Regional Housing Authority, Clear Creek Trail Initiative, and County Health Pool. And did you want to talk about that? or-
Yes, it's real quick. This is basically housekeeping. We are reappointing people that are already serving in these positions, with the exception of appointment to replace Ryan as myself. And then Jessica has been representing the Parks Commission at the Clear Creek Trail Initiative. And so we are asking that you formalize that as well.
Who is she? I don't
She's
know.
on
Yes,
parks.
she's on parks, she's on my parks board.
Oh, okay. Thank
She
you.
came to the Parks Commission and said, hey, they've reached out to us, nobody is certainly attending the meetings, would you mind if I went? Everybody was great, go, that would be great, and she's come back with some really interesting projects and things that this group has been deciding, and now we're just making it official.
I just didn't recognize the name, thank you.
What was
Jessica Louise, and she has since been
Mary?
married, I think.
Yes,
That's her married name.
yes.
I think so.
Yeah, no, we went through this.
Mhm.
It was a whole
Spell it.
15 minutes of, that's a.
And this county health pool form, that's what you need filled out. Okay, very good. Okay, any questions or thoughts about this?
I just want to recommend Dennis for the commission.
Thank you. I need to appoint the recommended people to the indicated boards and commissions as presented. Thank you. Second, Rich, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. Okay, those appointments are made. The last action item is what was added to your agenda. It is resolution number 4 regarding ground warming equipment loan and rental policies. Dennis, is that you?
Yes, ma'am. So with this more recent freeze that we've encountered in the last week or so, Eric responded to 3 possibly frozen water line issues in the town. One was here at Town Hall, and it's currently under repair. And he came and asked me for permission to offer the town's ground warming equipment that we purchased. Ryan spearheaded that a year or 2 ago, with the idea that we would offer it up to the town if they needed this in an emergency situation. We have no policies, we have no procedures for that. We have no way of saying who gets it, who doesn't get it, or who has to wait in line. And so out of that came an urgency to get some kind of policy and procedures in place so that when this happens again, and it could happen next week, then we want to be prepared for that and be fair with everyone in the community that needs this service. So we developed this policy this evening. I ran it by Jared quickly yesterday, and he's fine with it. And so we're asking for your adoption of resolution number 4, adopting ground warming equipment loan and rental policy.
I'll make that motion.
Hold on, I have a couple questions.
Well, you got a motion, a second to discuss it.
We could do that. Okay, sure. Go for it.
I'll second it.
and then I'll discuss, how's that,
Sure.
Rob?
Excellent.
Okay, so that's Rob and Mary. Okay, the discussion? So just a suggestion in the second whereas, we're talking about a significant hardship for residents. I think it should be worded to include businesses or whomever else later on in the document. If, and under the scope, you're talking about residents, property owners and contractors and blah, 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 blah. I just think that should be more all encompassing.
Okay, so the whereas shall read for residents and businesses and risk damage to public and private infrastructure, does that?
That's similar to what you've got in the scope, I think.
For residents and businesses.
Residents,
that
property
risk-
owners
Okay, I see that.
and
that risk
contractors.
For public and private.
And businesses should be added in there because that doesn't really include businesses. Well, it would be a business if you're the property owner. If you're renting a business, I'm not quite sure you've got the right to do that unless you've talked to a property owner.
Yeah, that's
So maybe it's
correct.
just property owners.
Right, so this, we will adjust the whereas to read for residents, property owners and
Or
contractors
just property, yeah.
and risk. Because some contractors will act on behalf of
Property.
business or, in an emergency situation.
Then on the second page, I just have a question as far as the time. Under the fee schedule, and I'm not questioning the fee schedule, I'm just curious. How long does this process usually take to thaw?
It depends. I mean, so at my house. 2 years ago, we were frozen for like 6 weeks. And there's been several residents that live over near
On
Ward.
Skyline, I know, we had
It
a,
was
Run
deep.
to,
yeah.
It was.
yeah, we were up for 6 weeks,
Yeah,
2
the
years
problem
ago.
is you can't put those water lines deep enough and
Yeah.
under the right conditions, because
They,
you need to make a trench, you need to put in pea gravel underneath and then lay your pipe. And then surround it with pea gravel, but then put a piece of blue board, and that is what absolutely takes the frost and makes it go down, straight down to the ground. Instead of to your pipe. And that's what insulates and keeps it from freezing. If you can't do that, you run into problems in these kind of temperatures.
Well, we were frozen in the restaurant yesterday, and yesterday morning, we all went in and we didn't open until 4. And we thought in 3 hours. We were not using this equipment, we had our own stuff going on inside, but in the past, I have used the ground warming technique. We ended up, we had, it can be really complicated, but it can take a really long time.
But I guess part of it is my own curiosity, but when we were dealing with it for the residents on Skyline, my concern, and I support that we are able to provide this as a service to our community. However, because of the length of time and because of weather conditions that can occur, all of a sudden, what's only happening over here and the equipment is being used then becomes a problem for us when the town is in need of it and perhaps the equipment, and I don't understand exactly how the equipment works, but it is no longer accessible. Maybe it's buried under another 2 or 3 feet of snow.
Oh,
So we
ground
can,
warming equipment, you can't bury. So these blankets
Big mats.
literally are used by cement companies to cure cement in this kind of weather.
and then it snows 2 or 3 feet on top of the
Oh,
ground
that's-
warming blanket.
Usually that if you're using this sort
But
of
so
stuff.
from an
you think of the weather
operational
and make sure.
standpoint, we're putting a lot of so as we write this.
Uh-huh.
For me, Joe Blow, who all of a sudden rents this from the town.
You make a good point. You're right.
I'm not the professional that knows that I have to get out there and pull up the warming blanket, the little baby blanket, because all of a sudden Mother Nature is starting,
No,
because
make
the
a good
town's
point.
gonna need it for a bigger problem.
I think
So
that's a
I
good
just
point.
want us to be able to have that foresight, because this winter is not our regular winter, we all know this. And
Mhm.
so I want it accessible to the town first and for the greater good as
Yeah,
opposed to
make
one
that-
individual.
I think the policy already is that the resolution describes that, the town has priority use.
But can we yank it? Can you come to my house and take it away from me because the town has decided to use
Yes,
it now?
Sure,
Yes.
yeah.
And under 2 or 3 feet of snow, I just think that's gonna become problematic.
I know, the thing about it is that if you're using one of these warming blankets, you're not gonna leave it out there and let it unmask like 2 feet of snow on top of it. If you can't successfully deploy this in, I would say, 90 minutes? then you're not getting bumped. You're past this equipment's.
So who's
Left.
monitoring that? So are we, so then when we're discussing this fee schedule, let's take into consideration even though we're trying to do the greater good here, let's take into consideration what it costs us, our staff, because they're gonna be the ones who are gonna be called upon to say, how do I make this work, or how do I do this? I don't, I'm,
Well, I wonder if we should, how many of these blankets do we have?
One.
What about a
Should we have like,
It's not
maybe,
just a blanket.
It's like a whole,
There's a series of hoses too that
Oh,
we
yeah, yeah,
got with, glycol,
who sets it up then?
the town does.
Yeah, but
So
what
you
about,
come to my house because my pipes are thawed, the town comes out, they're gonna lay this all out.
More than likely,
And so
Our-
let's just have our fee structure take
I
that into
agree.
consideration.
I
Yeah.
agree, more than likely, our people are on the scene regardless of the use of this equipment. So the first thing that we had a business recently that had an issue. And she contacted us and we sent out Eric immediately to assist with their contractor. So we wanna be able to, while we're on site, say, we have this equipment available, you can rent it from us. Now, the philosophy behind the numbers here is important because we are not offering to provide a long-term 6-week solution. We are offering Amanda the opportunity to have a quick 24-hour response to give her time to locate something she might need to secure from another private contractor. And if at the end of that 24 hours, the town needs it, we've written it in, so here's your limit, it's 24 hours, we're taking it. I have the authority, and so does Eric, in this policy to say, okay, your 24 hours are up, nobody else is asking for it, we don't need it, keep it. And you're gonna continue to pay the per day fee. So that's one of those things. The other thing is the numbers that we came up, admittedly, are grabbed out of the sky. Partly based on the number of hours that our staff are estimating we're gonna have to put into this, but also balancing that with providing a community emergency response. If that makes sense. So I don't want a resident who has frozen they don't have water service to have to fork over $500 to pay for this because this is an emergency more often than not. If they were to question the deposit and the rental rate, to me, and it's an emergency, I might waive that even then, because this is could be a life and death kind of thing with no water or no heat. So we're trying to strike a balance with that to make it a cost recovery as best as possible, but also provide a community good. So the 24 hours is intended to be an immediate solution for those pipes that can be thawed within that 3 or 4 hour period, or maybe a little longer. Provide that stopgap to get to a private contractor if they need to, but also ensure that if somebody else is in need and they're in line, we can take that away and go give it to them and keep moving along down the line in an emergency situation. So this is in no way scientific. This is our way to get something in place so that we can be prepared during the next freeze, and that could happen in the next 2 weeks or so. That's my short-winded version of my explanation.
I think it's super great, and I was very grateful for the offer yesterday when we were lucky. Our issue was actually more related to heating issue as opposed to our pipes, and once we resolved one, we resolved the other. But it was super awesome, and I was very grateful. And I also had a contractor that would not come out until I verified with the town what was going on. They're like, we're not driving up there, you gotta call your town and make sure everything's good. So I think this would have improved my outcome if I needed that other contractor.
We were actually very happy when Amanda called and said, I'm good, I don't need any help with. Cause we got a Selectmen person,
No.
where was it?
No,
whole
I'm
thing.
just a business owner. I just called you because I knew that's how to call.
But those are the issues that we're thinking about, and we have to have something in place and looking.
So it doesn't look like a sweetheart deal.
So then,
For anybody.
so then again, how do we communicate this, or how is the plan, or is there a plan? You don't even have to tell me what the plan is. That we're gonna communicate to the community that they have this option, because we don't always do well on the business hours of the week
when something happens,
2 o'clock in the morning.
yeah, you know, like, which social media site should I go on to request assistance? I want to avoid that, so,
Yeah, who's the contact?
Yeah.
afterwards? Yeah.
so on the
Today-
website, whatever, newsletters, you know.
Today, we have the contact information in place for anybody that has a problem with their water or sewer service. And typically, that will go through Jeffcom, so they will call the non-emergency number, and then we will be dispatched out to that location. Then this option will be presented to anybody that might need it, based on what our professional on the site, at the site would recommend. There are situations where this equipment will not benefit someone, so we will not recommend it or offer it. Even if they say, I want it, I wanna rent it, if our person, Eric or Devin, say, this isn't gonna work for you and we're not going to rent it to you, then we won't do it. It's at our discretion. I don't have any intention at this point to push out on social media that we have this equipment ready, this is our option. But we do have to say, especially in periods of, like now, I'm rambling, I'm tired, but. In this time of the season, we do have to make people aware that if they have an issue, they have to contact water and sewer or the clerk's office to say we need some help.
So how
So
many,
I'm not gonna tell you the plan, I'm gonna take you up on your offer,
I don't want no plan.
but we do
Where's
have
my
to,
damn plan?
we do have to do some internal work after you
Don't tell her.
adopt resolution number 4 this evening to lay out the procedures for our water and sewer team.
how many of these blankets do we have?
One,
So that-
it looks
that
like a
makes it-
big generator.
Yeah, that makes it tough because, you know, when stuff freezes, how many people's pipes are frozen that they don't mention it? And I know of a few people that don't mention it, they try to take care of it themselves.
Which is great.
So, and I'm not
This is on
saying,
them.
but the problem of it is once they realize, oh, the town has this and they're gonna come and save us. What happens if I
This-
just don't want it to look bad on the town, I mean, it worked for you,
No,
commercial businesses is a little bit different.
I think
But
the
if you-
caveat again though,
You
and
get 3 or 4 people, and I know too, like you said, it takes a long time. Every case is different. I just don't want the bad exposure because we make promises that we can't keep.
this equipment is not the equivalent of the guy that had to come out from Leadville and bail all of us out when Skyline was frozen and my house was frozen.
One house on First Street and another house I have some.
But the guy from Leadville that ended up getting all of us out, I wrote him a check for $1,500. And he was at my house for 9 minutes. And he had a super powerful.
We should buy that.
He had a super powerful generator, he knew exactly what to do, he thawed us in 9 minutes. I had 3 different people come to my house before that could not thaw us. And so if you are in that position, this warming blanket is not your savior. It took,
You'll need electricity.
you have
We
to
have to
have.
explain that to the.
So this
people.
is-
So that's fine, it's,
Point-
and
point-
Ryan was amazing at the time, and was like, hey, Amanda, I feel really sorry for you guys, but the town can do nothing for you. Ryan was at my house. Eric was at my house. I had Excel there because some of the people that tried to thaw my house blew my power off my house and we sent a fire department case. It was a lot.
So for this
So bad.
particular resolution, for this resolution, I think what you're saying is do we
Yeah.
need more than one of whatever this is?
No, I mean,
No, we don't, because it's an emergency response. So are we okay with this resolution? Now, we do have a motion before us, it's been seconded. Do we have any other discussion?
I only wanna add a couple things. Dwayne has made a good point.
Okay,
Many communities do not offer this at all because they don't wanna get into the business of
yeah,
what the private sector covers. We have this piece of equipment that we utilize and have is ready to go when we have to address public facilities like town hall, when it freezes. While we have it here, do we wanna keep it for only public use or do we wanna make it available under these guidelines? And I'm siding with, let's make it available under these guidelines instead of keeping it parked over at the sewer plant when somebody might need it. That's all, but we want to encourage people to utilize private contractors to help them get out of this situation.
Yeah, under a massive emergency,
right.
you know, and if you remember back, right, I think that was one of Ryan's cells forgiveness, that we could potentially reduce some of the costs from that. And back then I kind of agreed, I just only having one of it, when you only have one of something, that's when it's needed the most.
Well, maybe we see what happens as we go forward and kind of handle it that way.
we could sit here and make the same argument for
You guys are the
generators.
ones who get the phone calls, so.
Right.
I think 1 is better than 0.
So we have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, resolution number 4 is
Thank you.
passed. Thank you. So police judge reports. I did go to the Dr. Cog meeting last week. And that's the Denver Regional Council of Governments. And there was a lot of discussion about sidewalks and a lot of different things that are happening down in the Front Range. But Clear Creek County and Gilpin County are in the mode now where we have requested to join their municipal planning organization. They're reviewing that. I'm sure we're gonna be approved to get in, which means that it can unlock funding for us for some CDOT and I-70 related issues. So we'll see where that goes. And I can't tell you what kind of funding, what kind of projects would be funded, but it's something that Clear Creek County has wanted to be a part of for a long time. I also went to the Tourism Bureau Forum last week where there was discussion on the Trails to Town mapping guide that this board approved a $5,000 grant to. So there was information about, hey, who's gonna be in it? The municipalities are gonna be in it. The next meeting is February 11th. And I am meeting with Anna on this. She and I have had a lot of scheduling conflicts and she was not able to go to the meeting because she was sick. So what they want to have is what kind of trails in your community do you want to focus on, 2 or 3 trails. Then there's a portion of the booklet where you can put in a narrative about your town and then also feature businesses or have a QR code or something like that to the businesses. So that's going on. I did hear something about Guanella Pass. So, you know, you guys probably are familiar with Duck Lake, which is over past the summit. And the woman who owns that property would like to start, and this is not to the town. This is something I've just heard from one of the commissioners. So I'm kind of inserting myself into this, but she would like to start a recreation business where she would meet people at the Naylor Lake parking lot and then maybe skin up or snowshoe up to her Duck Lake place and have people stay there and do all of this. So it's kind of an interesting thing. And it brings up the whole idea of what do we do with Guanella Pass Road in the winter and can we have businesses up there? So this is just a kernel of an idea. I've got a call out to her. I'm gonna be meeting with her and seeing if that goes anywhere and what could possibly happen there. So that is my report and we'll start with Selectmen. Amanda, do you want to start this time?
I do not have a report.
Okay, very good. And then Dwayne?
I do not have a report, but hopefully I have a yearly report. We have a work session next in 2 weeks
For the Housing Authority?
for the housing.
Okay.
Fund, sorry.
No, that's all right. And then Rob?
I can't even make something up.
I was just.
Yeah, I was waiting for
I,
it. Okay, thank you. Alex, did you have a report?
I don't have a report now.
Very good. Rich?
Had 2 meetings last week. The Historic Lands Commission got a thank you letter from the town of Silver Plume. They've raised a little over $1 million to purchase the other half of that mountain and all those mining claims.
It's true.
There's some sort of legality that they're still working through, and I'm not sure what that's gonna be. When that purchase will be certified, but at least the Lands Commission and Silver Plume and all that have done what they need to do.
That's great.
There was an interesting conversation. Mojo came to the meeting, and I think he has a group of friends of Clear Creek or something like that, and really had a lot to say about the Silverdale parking lot and the trail, and the head of the lands, Greg Jarvis, I think got into it a little bit, but that group is gonna support some of Mojo's efforts to either better maintain or document some of the abuses of the trail up there.
Okay.
And then you all probably know that they were gonna put a truck stop at Bakerville, the county was,
Not doing that.
and
That's right.
they withdrew that.
Are
So
they gonna
that,
do anything with that though by chance?
Then they just stand alone. He stands.
I think it's kind of like touching that
So this part.
hot flame, and I think that there's probably gonna be a lot more thought put into anything happening there into the future. And so that was a productive meeting. I went to the fire authority board meeting. I think they're looking to add some more folks to the board, to that fire authority.
How many people are on it? Is it
Um,
like 13?
no, I think it's closer to like 9, but there's usually like 5 or 6 that show up.
People that show up,
And,
yeah.
and unincorporated, Third Creek has not really been represented.
Fair.
And the county really pushed to have 3 people from unincorporated. And I think there's at least one person going through the process that lives in Dumont be added to that board. And that was discussed. Jeremy Jones also is doing some open discussions with EMS to maybe merging those 2 services, because they think then, it might streamline funding issues, all that, but that is probably a 3 to 5 year plan. But, he's been authorized by the fire authority board to maybe have some meetings and see what that would look like.
Isn't it normal though, to have a fire authority and an EMS, together?
So some places it works very well and sometimes not so.
Oh, okay.
And I think at one time, that's why they split here in town and here in the county. And then, what else? Interest on the fire authority
It's a
board.
very urban concept.
I was thinking the Chicago Fire, I
No,
bought a
good.
lot of Chicago
Yeah.
Fire.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot
They're all-
of territorial issues, because then, you know, do you send out the paramedics on the fire department on some of those runs that the EMS really doesn't wanna go on and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of stuff. And it would be operated, I think, like 2 different silos. So I'm not sure how that'll work. And then John Jennings, I think George Marlin had thrown his name in the hat to be the fire authority board chairman or president. But, after a lot of discussion, he withdrew his name, and John's still gonna be running the board, so
Thank you,
productive meetings.
thank you. Mary, no report. All right, very good. Thank you very much. And now will you town attorney?
A couple of things, my partners torture me annually on rates, and I don't come to town annually for that, but I'm gonna work with Dennis to bring rates forward to you for the next meeting. Put that. Because Bighorn is getting close to the end of being developed, to give, well.
Sorry.
From the perspective of 2017, let's remember, you know, when there was nothing there, now, you know, the
When
parcels.
some is there.
Yeah, the parcels that are left undealt with are much smaller from that, you know, I take the long view. Every now and again, I think it's important for us to remember, you know, what the town has really accomplished over that
Mhm.
Yeah,
period of time after spending in many of these meetings being hard on the developer and making certain that what ended up coming out of the ground was something you were happy with, and I didn't intend in this report to congratulate you. Yeah, at some point you should think about the fact that, you know, it's been a struggle, but the stuff that came out of the ground has been okay, and that's really important for, you know, that's what you've accomplished by virtue of not taking your eye off the ball for 10 whole years. But because of that, I thought to myself, as we're getting close to a lot of little loose ends, I did ask to have a sit down with Kurt Soka and his attorney Max Stitch within the last 10 days, just to go over, okay, what are the loose ends here? Let's do a list, and I won't go through that list, but the point is that I've got to get grip on some little things we need to deal with. And some stuff emanating from the land donation that the town now has the property adjacent to the lagoon. Want to make sure that got recorded. I made myself a little note here tonight to make sure that deed gets recorded. So I wanted to tell you I'm on top of that, but just, you know, taking a moment to think about the decade worth of work that's gone on. And the only other thing is the library contract, you continue that until we're ready, but I've been reviewing the title work for that, which I thought would be a nightmare, but it really isn't, oddly enough. There's the usual kind of unusual and unique things because it's a mining town and it's old property, there've been some layered transactions, but not too bad. And so I think on the title side, I think we're gonna be fine. There's other elements of that deal that are coming together, and we have a contract that their side is kind of redlined, the version I wrote, and we'll iron all that out, but it's really getting there. That's my report.
Great, very good, thank you.
Yep.
Starting with the staff, we have Bridget, where's
You request to go last.
Oh, okay, very good. So we will skip to Q. We have your town treasurer's report here, and, you also included some monthly sales tax revenue summaries. Did you want to talk about that at all?
I know, Amanda, you're probably curious, the north versus the south. The north was about 11,000 and some change. And the south did about 7,000 some change.
Okay.
On your chart that I gave you. It looks like we did really bad in retail, but that's with the 721 businesses reporting. Made it about an average of $81 per business. Versus the 873 from the year before, which was about $77 per business. It's a difference of 9,438. If all businesses that were reporting in November last year had reported this year, we would have been at 70,713 roughly.
I think all those numbers that you just thrown out of this are valuable, and I would like to see those recorded in the next report. I'm fine with this report changing, but this is gonna take us a little bit of time to get used to, and I do think it's valuable for us to see the actual comparison. When we're dealing with numbers and money, I feel like we have about 11,000 and about 7,000. I would like more specific detail. I don't know if everyone had a chance to see the email that our former police judge Lynette Kelsey had sent out to us regarding this. I do agree that incorporating the remote sales into our retail really doesn't give us a good idea of how Georgetown merchants are doing here. To me, this is like, wow, we've got 721 businesses in town. Woo! Really? I mean, that's not how the average
Two
person.
hundred and 49 if you add up.
So,
But I understand.
but I'm
Yeah.
fine with the new format. I mean, even, the one that we're all used to can become cumbersome. I would like more detail, especially when it comes to financial, than less.
I really like-
And spelled out. So, but thank you. The information is valuable, but I would like to see it in writing in black and white. That is not just off the cuff.
And what about pulling out online sales? Are online sales like literally somebody goes on the web and buys a dog collar?
Yeah.
So, okay, and then remote sales or what?
If somebody goes online and buys it alcohol.
Okay, same thing. Okay, so do we want those separated out?
Well,
When we sell-
It was
This to me almost looks like, or I'm interpreting, okay, and there again, then let's have some very clear definitions in this, and this I could even go back to the police report, We need that, we need that page that says this, the explanations, because online sales to me is, I order from Amazon. And that's gonna be reported in the online, which is not the same as a merchant in town.
Right.
Performing X amount, because that's where our energy goes to, is supporting, brick and mortars more so than, what I'm doing out of my laptop in my own home.
Right.
For safe.
Any
So,
comments on that?
The other thing I'd like to jump in and say is that in the 8 months that I've been here and we've been doing this report, it's very cumbersome. And I don't see where the story's told. So we got together and thought, what are we trying to show here? And we think that the trending is the most important thing. And I think that there's a very important trend that's been revealed by this bar chart that you see this evening, right? That the number of businesses reporting sales tax are dropping dramatically.
Right.
The revenue coming from those businesses are going up dramatically. So that is an important thing to note, that we should be focusing maybe on expanding the number of taxpayers here versus one sector over another. The other thing is that we're starting over from scratch. We're trying to taking the old one and tossing it in the trash and starting over. And so everything that you say in a constructive way towards making this better, we are asking for that. So everything that you said, Mary, we agree with. It's very easy for Q to pull out that remote. I think it was what, $3,900 for that month. We already have that ready to go. So we could pull that out and make its own thing. And I think that the only other point I want to make about online sales is it is paid. The sales tax revenue goes to where it is paid. So it's not like Amazon, you're ordering something from Amazon and then that revenue is generated from Amazon and paid for us unless they have a business license and there's an actual business located in Georgetown. Do I have that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So we are gonna keep breaking these out and more detail. We all agree, we want more detail and we're just looking for suggestions. If there's something that pops into your mind after tonight and you wanna have that as a regular staple on this report, we'll add it. It's no problem. The 3-year period though is what I think Lynette pointed to also. We don't believe that the 5 years is necessary and the 3 years that we pulled were the 3 years of data that are available to us right now on the state's website, so.
Yeah, at the fire authority meeting, that came up, that if the businesses on Sixth Street were bringing in as much sales tax as they were 5 or 6 years ago, then Georgetown would have more money put toward fire and EMS. So I don't know where that county commissioner is getting to. I don't believe that the businesses on Sixth were bringing in hundreds of thousands of dollars more in sales tax. So that would be an incident where someone's quoting a trend of 5 or 6 years ago that I couldn't speak to. That,
Well, hopefully as this chart can help.
Yeah, I think this chart is great.
I just had a quick question.
Yeah,
I'm so
of course.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'll be fast.
Yeah, no worries.
First, I think that this is really good data and I really like the formatting of it. I do think that we can, like, as we, as the report evolves, I think it will be really, really tight. Where are delinquencies reflected? Are delinquencies reflected at your collection point or are they being back reported to the appropriate month? Because I think one of the things that has always skewed our data, and this goes back for years, was the delinquencies were just folded into the month of payment. And that isn't a fair assessment. If you, my sales tax in September is vastly different to my sales tax in November. And so I understand if it's paid late, it's not money that's collected, but how is that being managed in this new format?
We can look into that, but you're right, it is folded into the month that it's booked. And so we have access to every single taxpayer's record. So we can go in and pick Circle K and we can get their history. We just can't share that with the general public.
100%.
So we could go in and drill in there and look for if there was a revenue number that was reported that is off, what is normal. We can then drill into that and see if it is including delinquencies.
Yeah.
And I think that you even were able to identify just a couple of those off the cuff, right? Yeah, so that's something we can drill into.
Thank you.
I think it's important too, so like for 2025, we know that Family Dollar had closed and wasn't open as Dollar General or whatever they're calling now, yeah, Dollar General, for months. And so somewhere in, the annual report, we need to have those notations.
for anecdotal stuff.
Yeah, it's fresh in our mind on that year, but especially even when we're looking back 3 years, oh, what happened on Sixth Street that all of a sudden we dropped? Oh, yeah, remember these two places closed, or these restaurants, you know, or whatever.
We have a
kind of
bankruptcy
thing,
or
So that we
something.
have that information. Because it may become something that we're defending when we're being asked for more funding and we don't have that revenue to,
This is why.
exactly.
And you'll see on the report on the front that Q has put together, we have the key highlights.
Yeah.
That's where we tend to focus on those types of pieces of information. We just didn't know what you'd want to see there or where to start, so we gave it our best slot at 3 points for you to see. But we can certainly add into that. I also wanted to point to the page of definitions here. If there's anything that when you're going through the definitions, you see that's lacking or isn't clear to you, we will adjust the list of definitions as well for you.
So did we decide that online and remote sales should be separated?
I think we can easily do that, so yeah. we can-
Yeah, I think that would be great, because we do wanna judge, or be able to look at the health of Sixth Street and the retail shop separately. From that would be,
Like, do you,
And
the
I'm
liquor
sorry.
store fall under retail services or food and beverage?
Retail. If it on premise alcohol in Colorado, on premises, like, what's in the four walls.
Right,
Is a different sales tax license than an off premise,
got it,
which is a bar,
got it.
sorry.
You know,
but
Definitions
Thank
like
you.
that are valuable
They do,
because
they're
you
fine.
understand it, but everybody else in the room doesn't understand
right.
it. And so when we're breaking it down, that could be a big impact to us if, you know, we're losing a specific, you
I
know,
have one more
kind of.
question about lodging tax, my
Yeah.
other favorite topic. This lodging tax reflection is only the 4% sales tax.
Sales tax at third party booking sites below.
So the 2% that we're collecting, is there any way, I understand the sales tax report and the lodging bills need to be different. But could we get updates on those numbers too in some capacity where we're at for lodging tax
Lodging.
collection?
yeah, that's a separate report
Yeah.
that we're working on.
Cool,
Yes.
thank you.
No, that's gonna be
Did
great.
everyone understand what Q said about the sales tax?
Mhm.
Okay, so it's like VRBO, the sales tax they pay, they have to.
Well, I mean, everybody has to pay, so I mean, if, yeah, Microtel pays
It
it.
just comes in different ways.
Thank you,
Any other questions? Thank you, Q, this was great.
thank you so much.
Yes,
Really good to see this. The next report's gonna be Kasia, Assistant Town Administrator.
Yes, so you have one in front of you, a couple additions, Jerry mentioned that Lakeview Flats is sort of wrapping up and we're still starting on phase 2, we're not quite breaking ground on that. But we are working on issuing the final certificate of occupancy for phase 1, they have one building left that doesn't have a CO, we're doing the final check right now. The design review commission has looked at it, they've approved, you know, there's nothing outstanding in the certificate of appropriateness. The staff has until February 4th to let me know if there's any outstanding issues with roads or bills they haven't paid or water utility things, fire, safety, hydrants, all that stuff. Everything has to be buttoned up really tight before we issue the certificate of occupancy, but we do expect that will be issued next week, so. We're finalizing W-2s and 1099s this week. Express bill pay, you might have seen some of the things on our website and on our social media. We've sent a mailer out today that was scheduled to go out today. But the printer was supposed to go out yesterday, so I gotta check with Ellie on about that, but there is a mailer that's gonna be going out. Not to every post office box, but to every person with a water bill account, so that will be going out, you know, all over the country to everyone that owns a house here that has a water account. We're also working on interviews for water sewer on Thursday and some going into next week. We have 2 positions we're trying to fill for the sewer departments. And we are canceling the meeting for the first meeting in February because they're attending the Saving Places conference and there's a conflict there, so that'll be fun for them.
Would you do me a favor, whenever you cancel a DRC meeting, let Susan know?
I emailed her, yes. Yeah.
We just
Forgot
called
last
you.
time.
You're not passing on anything.
You should just call.
You know now, and you gotta.
That's right,
Now I've gotta let her know.
right. Communication.
Sorry, but.
That's right.
Thank you, Kasia.
Yep.
Okay, very good. That's great. And then can we insert Bridget now? Are you ready to do your report? Okay, great. Thank you.
So my staff report pretty much outlines what I've been working on. Everything's going underway. We're still, business licenses and short-term rentals are still rolling in, so we're doing all of those. Ice driving is the big update. So all events through January have been canceled. Ice just isn't picked up. Sarsa was out yesterday and the average depth of the ice was 4 to 7 inches. And it's much bigger than it was a couple weeks ago, but it's just not quite there yet. So people are kind of, for February, the groups are waiting till the last minute to make their calls on whether they're gonna host or whether they're gonna cancel. So we have the group that's going to host on February 1st has canceled, but the rest of February is still on the calendar. If I were to make a guess, I don't think things will be ready to go until President's Day weekend, and I feel like that's even maybe a little bit hopeful, but my fingers are crossed. I hope they can get out there.
And Bridget, quick question. Do they need 10 or 15 inches for the driving?
15.
15 for the driving. That's what I thought it was. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
And I think that's different from a typical lake, because ours is spring fed.
Okay.
Different lakes have different requirements for depth. But
Thank
that is
you.
also, the groups have their own insurance, their own testing, they make their own calls, the town does not get involved about saying, yes, you can go, no, you can't.
Okay.
They get, hold all liability for ice driving activities.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I shared the updated schedule with Anna and then giving her a price as well so that she can communicate with the public appropriately. Yeah, that's what we have there. The code of conduct that we approved at the last meeting was published to the website and sent out to all boards and commissioners. And then Dennis has been taking over the website and we give it, there's a lot of outdated information on there and some, it needs to be pulled a bit, so. I think at the end of February, sort of once renewals are all behind us and we've gotten some of the events that are taking place here early in the winter, we're gonna do an audit of the website, try to go through that and get rid of the old stuff and organize it a little better. It needs,
That would be nice.
it needs some work. And then Jerry had pointed this out to me back in September that, this was a new process for me updating our municipal code based on ordinances that were passed throughout 2025. So I reached out to Community Code, sent them all of there's a send your ordinances to this email and they'll make the updates. Dennis then noticed earlier last week that, oh, like all of this stuff hasn't been updated. So I reached back out, somehow my email had fallen through the crack. This time they are actively making the updates to our municipal code or like all the ordinances that are passed through 2025 and I'll send them the first ordinance we passed this year once you sign. So.
Great, thank you very much. You guys have been busy. Everybody's busy.
On the website, you weren't here for this, but one of the recommendations of our PR company was that you get photos on the website of all of us. No, like of us.
Oh.
Yeah, well, all the staff and the elected officials, right?
Oh,
And commissions, isn't that it typically? Yeah,
okay, thanks.
Here's our photographer right there.
that's right.
Yes.
Field trip, trust review for our little headshots.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Dennis, town administrator.
Thank you. I'll be quick. There's, in addition to what Bridget said about ice driving, we also have the fire authority beginning ice measuring next week. So they have volunteered their people to, on a weekly basis, go out, drill a test hole, and then they can measure and report to us where the ice thickness is. So we'll have Sursa, and then when the ice driving passes, we'll have the fire authority keeping track there. That is basically focused on a safety issue. So if anybody wants to walk around on the ice, they're gonna be the ones responding and they wanna have a little bit more control on that, which is a great thing. They volunteer to do that. But then the other thing on here is the payables procedures that I've shared with you this evening. And we're excited about this because we think it's going to improve a lot of things. First off, the invoices, I'm not gonna go through step 1 through 6. You can see that it's a pretty self-explanatory kind of thing. But we anticipate by changing over to this and processing our payables weekly, You're gonna get a payables report every week, so you can see in a smaller batch, and you can ask questions about that. We're gonna send that to you by email, and then we're gonna also give you hard copies in your mailboxes. So if you're one that's gonna not visit town hall, which is very sad for us not to see you often, but if you're going to visit town hall on a regular basis, you can pick up these payable reports as they accumulate, or you can grab them on a weekly basis. And I'm even gonna offer, if you can't get to town hall and you're desperate to read some of this stuff, we'll deliver it to your home free of charge. But we can discuss that at the work session on the fees. Yeah.
So,
So that's an important thing. The other benefit is gonna be our vendors are gonna get paid quicker. And then staff is gonna be able to accomplish this task better, because everybody knows if you have a big project that's overwhelming in front of you, sometimes it sits. We think that in smaller batches will be quicker and it'll be a better all around thing. So when you see this on the agenda, it's gonna be probably 2 weeks at a time. And it's gonna be there for you to accept the report as information. If you have any questions, we'll answer that. If the questions lead to a correction that's necessary, we will follow up with the vendor and report back to you what correction was made. So I'm glad to answer any questions. This is the first draft of this payables procedures. If you want to change any of this, we're open to that and glad to amend it.
Thank you. Any questions on the procedures? All right, great, well. It's that time. I move to adjourn. So
I'll
it is
second it.
7:55. Mary, you made the motion, and Rob, all those in favor?